So I finally have a little bit of a break, March, April, and May to be. So I've done 2 of those. Now for the actual concert. Hello, so it has been a minute since I have just taken the time to catch up on some of my projects that I have kind of abandoned, namely the year-long Granny Square project that I started at the beginning of the year and then promptly, unintentionally abandoned as soon as March hit. So I have 3 months of Granny Squares that I need to make, so that's 12 Granny Squares in total, 1 set of 3 for March, another set of 3 for April, and then another set for May. So essentially this week I just want to catch up on those missing Granny Squares since there are so many, and I feel like if I keep putting it off, I'm just going to completely abandon this project, and I really don't want to do that. But I also wanted to have a little bit of an easier week because I just finished my big ol' sweater vest project that I had been working on for months and months, and then I even got back a few days ago from the big Stray Kids concert, so I'm pretty tired this week. My voice is a tiny bit shot, just mostly in the upper region. It is having a harder time, so I just want to take it easy and relax this week, catch up on this project, and hopefully I will be able to be more consistent the rest of the year, because honestly this last month and a half was the busiest I have been in such a long time. So I finally have a little bit of a break, a little bit of a breather before I'll be getting back into a little bit of a busier time. But overall, this is now the time to actually catch up on my projects. So that's what I'm gonna do. I also figure later on in the video I can chit chat about my experience at the concert, because it was my first K-pop concert, and just a lot of things. I know I've seen some people talking a little bit about what happened at the Seattle Stray Kids concert, just the lines beforehand, so I'll just chit chat about my experience. So to summarize, it was a great time. I had such an amazing time, met some really nice people, which was great. And if you were one of those people and you're seeing this video, hi, it was nice to meet you. And yeah, again, I'll talk more about that later on in the video. So first, though, I need to come up with some designs for what I want my squares for March, April, and May to be. So in case you missed it, I started this project back at the beginning of January, but essentially I'm putting together a sweater vest full of granny squares that I originally intended to be making every single month. Obviously, I'm a bit behind right now, so I'll be making 3 months this time around, but the goal is now for the rest of the year to just be doing a couple squares per month. That way, by the end of the year, I have an entire sweater vest full of granny squares that I made all year. So the first set of squares that I made were just these more plain granny squares. I just wanted something plain to go off of to start off, because I wasn't sure exactly what the direction I wanted this to go in, so I figured having a couple more plain squares would be an easier jumping off point, so then I could come up with some more fun ideas and fun designs for the other squares. So then in February, since I did that whole smiley face mosaic piece, I decided to make the squares these smiley face ones. They're definitely not perfect, but they are fun nonetheless, and I think they will be a fun addition to the full sweater vest. So I also will note that I am trying my best to use just scrap yarn for all of these projects, and even in most cases trying to use specifically scrap yarn from projects that I was making during that time, just so then it's a collection of what I was working on at the time, Now, the designs that I was thinking of for the other squares for March, since I did that daisy patterned vest, I believe that was March, I hope it was. I was thinking of doing these daisy patterned granny squares, and then I wasn't really sure what to do for April, because I kind of took April off for the most part. I was mostly working on my Stray Kids vest, so I wasn't really sure what I was gonna do, but I've seen these spiral sun granny squares, and I thought those would be fun, so I might try doing something like that. And then for the last one, I'm thinking of doing some sort of black and white checkerboard, just because I feel like it kind of matches the vibe of what I made for my Stray Kids vest without being exactly the same, Plus, I think the checkerboard texture will be cool with the other squares that I made. But with those designs picked, now I need to find the appropriate patterns for all of them and start crocheting them. So I'm gonna go do that, and I'll check in again a little bit later when I have more done. So I got to working on the granny squares. I'll make sure to link the squares patterns that I used down in the description, but overall they were very simple. So it is now the next day. I was able to get a good amount of the squares done yesterday. I have all 3 of the like spiral suns done. I did alter the pattern that I found just a little bit because it was going to be a bit bigger than what the other squares that I have already made were going to be. So I tweaked it just a bit so that it would fit with the other ones. But those are all done. And then I also have completed 2 of the like checkerboard style ones. One that's like more black and one that's more white. I think I'm probably going to make another one that's this one though, just because I like it a little bit more than this one. So I've done 2 of those, and then I also have done one of these like daisy squares. I think I'm gonna redo this one though. I think the yarn that I chose, and then with the hook as well, it's like a little thin, so I want to double it up so that it's a bit thicker and fills the space a little bit better, and then also the square itself will be bigger as well. So that's really what I'm working on today. I need to finish the last checkerboard square, and then I also need to work on the daisy squares. So hopefully, honestly, I can finish this all today, but if I don't, it's not the end of the world. I could keep working on it tomorrow. It just would be nice to be, more done with this process. So I'm gonna get back to crocheting now, but I will chat with you all soon when I have more stuff done. So I just wanted to pop in here and chat a little bit about my experience at the Stray Kids concert. That was my first ever K-pop concert, so I thought it sounded fun to just chat a little bit about my experience. Now, I did technically film this last week, or film a talking my experience last week, but that video was a bit of a mess. I was still trying to process my experience at the concert, so I didn't really say very much in that video that I took, so I'm refilming this and hoping that I'm able to convey better how the whole concert went. And I also have written some notes off to the side, so if I end up looking off to the side every now and then, that's why, because I want to make sure that I actually saying the things that I want to say. So I also figured this would be nice because I know there are some other people on here that are going to some of the other stops on their US tour, so hopefully this will be a helpful guide of my experience, especially if you haven't been to a concert yourself. Then you know a little bit more what to expect. Obviously every city is going to be different, so it's not going to be exact, but at least then you have me as a reference for what at least the first stop on the tour was like. So now to start off with, I drove up with my friends the day before the concert. We have about a 3-hour drive to get up to Seattle, so we figured that would be nicer than having to do it the day of. And it also meant that we were able to go to the merch pop-up shop. Now, if you're going to one of the other stops on the US tour, I would definitely follow livenation.kpop on Instagram. That's how we found out about where and when the merch pop-up was going to be, and just where the merch stands were going to be in general. So I highly recommend following them. We did the big 3-hour drive and immediately got in line for merch. We didn't get in line until about 4, and we didn't end up getting our merch until nearly 7. So it took about 3 hours to get merch. It was definitely a very long line, but when we saw the lines the day of the concert, I'm so incredibly thankful that we did that the day before. It meant there was so much less stress the day of the concert, and it meant that we were able to get the proper sizes that we needed. Like this t-shirt, and I got a sweatshirt. I was able to get both of them in a 2X. For the sweatshirts, we got the last 3 2Xs. So highly recommend, especially if you're someone that needs a larger size. If you're able to go to the pop-up, I would go to the pop-up just to make sure that you're actually able to get something that will fit you. So we got very lucky with that. And I'm really, again, very thankful that we were able to make the merch pop-up because we were going up the day before. So now for day of concert, we had general admission tickets, so we just hung out in Seattle before the concert and before we started getting ready. We eventually, though, did get ourselves ready and showed up to the venue around 3:45-ish. We decided to park at T-Mobile Park just because we didn't want to walk back to our hotel late at night, so we decided to park there. It was $85 after tax, so just be forewarned, it's going to be very expensive, and we definitely didn't want to pay that much, but it's a high price to pay to have a little bit of a safer location to be parked in. So yeah, we got there 3:45-ish, and general admission doors weren't until 5:30. So when we were there, VIP was trying to get in. It was admittedly a bit of a mess. People were just kind of everywhere. Everyone's asking each other if they were VIP or general admission because they were just trying to figure out where to go. There wasn't really much of a line. There were like some fan-made lines for VIP, but even they weren't sure how to get it, and it was messy. So it took a long time for VIP to actually get into the venue. So I know sound check got delayed by like 15 minutes, and then the concert itself got delayed 15 minutes because of just how long it was taking for people to get in that were supposed to be VIP. So that was a little bit messy. Hopefully it's not as messy at the other stops. I haven't really heard too much about the other stops. So hopefully if you have VIP, you will have a better experience than Seattle did. But yeah, since we were general admission, we truly did not know where to go. So we just kind of stood off to the side against the building in like a shady spot, and we're just kind of waiting to figure out what was going on. In that time, a couple of younger stays ended up coming up to us, and we gave them some freebies, and they decided to just hang out with us until the concert started, or at least until we like were able to get in the doors. So eventually we asked like a staff person where we needed to go. They told us the best gate to be waiting by, so we all picked up our little group and wandered over to the gate that we were told would be the best one for us to get in quickly. So we just hung out there, handed out freebies to people, and got some freebies ourselves. And yeah, eventually sound check happened. It was again like 15-ish minutes late. There were so many people out. I actually downloaded this video that I found off of TikTok with like all the crowds outside of the venue during sound check. You can actually see me and my friends in that video, which is kind of wild. But yeah, it was a lot of people, but ultimately it was a good spot for us to be in. By the time the general admission doors opened, we got into the venue within like 20 minutes. So genuinely, if you don't know where to go, ask a staff member and they will probably point you to the best location. So yeah, by the time we got in, we had lots of time, which was really great. We were up in the 200 level of the park. But yeah, the process once we were in the building was super easy. We bought some water and then went up to our seats. We brought in some pre-packed like sandwiches from Trader Joe's just to eat as some sustenance for dinner. Since we got there so early, we weren't able to eat dinner. So, that was nice to be able to have that. And I'm very thankful we were allowed to bring that in because I have a lot of food allergies. So there's no way I would have been able to get food at the venue itself. So that was really nice. Yeah, we were able to even use the bathroom super fast, which was great since we were up at a higher like seat level. We were done eating and using the bathroom and we're back in our seats all still like an hour before the concert even started. So we got very, very lucky in that regard, which was great. Also, here's like a picture of what our view was of the stage. It's a little bit far away, but ultimately we were able to see everything, which was great, and it was still an amazing experience. But yeah, this venue is massive. I've never been to a venue so big. There was like over 40,000 people there, which was crazy. It was wild just looking around during the concert and just being in awe of like how many people were there. Like I've never seen in person so many people. So that was just a wild experience to just like genuinely like every once in a while during the concert like have these like whoa moments of there's so many people here all for the same thing, which is it's just wild. So but now for the actual concert, I may not have the best like formulated words to describe this concert, just because it kind of blew my mind, honestly. Yeah, the second that the little like Stray Kids anthem started, the whole stadium just erupted in screams and people were so excited. It was extremely loud, so I'm extremely thankful that I had earplugs because they were very necessary. But yeah, I just feel like it's hard to put into words how incredibly talented these people are. Like I've seen some of their concert performances on TikTok, and like obviously I've listened to their music for a good while, but there's just the camera just does not pick up how talented they are. They somehow sound and like move even better than they do like they somehow sound and move even better in person than they do like recorded, which is mind-boggling because just watching them online is incredibly impressive. So seeing it all in person just blew my mind. So they also like had these huge productions, like these like massive, highly produced interstitial videos that they would have in between some of the songs. They would have fireworks throughout the entire thing, like almost after every single song there was some form of firework going off. Yeah, we got to see the duo performances, which were so much fun. Obviously it would have been nice to have seen the solos, but I still had a really fun time watching the duo performances. I will say it is funny, so at the end of cinema they will project your names in the back, and so they like have all these names going, but there are so many people and there's so little time, it goes by so fast, there's no way you can see your name. Still fun to have nonetheless. And also we got Megaverse, we got Top Line, which are two of some of my favorite songs. We got Domino. Just they added so many fun songs to the set list, and I'm just so happy and grateful that I got to see them. They also had these like little cart things. I know they've brought them out in their Japan shows before, but they brought them out for this tour as well. Like these little like cart things that go around the arena, so then people in the farther back seats can actually like see them up close, which is really cool. So we got to see them up close, which was fun. Yeah, it truly was a night that I never want to forget and desperately want to go back to, but obviously I can't. I definitely understand why people go to multiple stops when they are touring, because they're just so incredibly talented and it's amazing to be able to see them perform in person. So, but yeah, you best believe the next time they are touring, I will absolutely be there, and I want a floor seat next time. I want to be closer, so more in the mix of everything. So it was fun being in the 200 level, but like I want to like be around everyone, you know? So it was a really great time and I really miss it and I want to go back. But anyways, that's enough of K-pop. I've been chatting now on here for 20 minutes. Hopefully I'll be cutting this down to be a bit shorter, but I don't plan on making this a K-pop channel. This is just a fun little thing that I did, so I figured it'd be fun to chat about it with you all. So now with that, I should get back to crocheting. I should finish up these granny squares, get all caught up, so I'll get back to it. Okay, so it might be a little bit loud because my window is open. Appa's just very happy at the window and I don't want to disrupt her happiness. So I am going to have the window open. That means there's probably going to be some birds chirping in the background. Maybe not, because I am just recording with my phone, but it is possible you'll be able to hear it. So if that's distracting at all, my apologies. I finished the squares, so I figured I would show you all the finished results. So first are the just black and white checkered ones, again going off of the scraps that I made I have from my sweater vest that I made for the Stray Kids concert. I think these will be a nice addition to the entire vest. And then where do I put these when I'm done? And those are the squares for May, just because I went to the concert this month, so I figured those will be the May designated squares. And then I have the like spiral sun ones that I did. These ones are for April. So yeah, I'm really happy with how these turned out. They're not exactly how I envisioned them because I did have to make them just a little bit smaller than what the pattern originally had them as, but I still think they're really fun, and I think they'll be a fun like different texture with everything else. So, and then the last ones that I needed to catch up on are the daisy squares that I made for March. Yeah, I made these for March because of the strawberry flower vest that I made back in March. So yeah, that's all of them. So now I have 5 months of squares done, which is great. Hopefully I won't get behind anymore this year. I feel like things are kind of calming down for me, which is really nice. So I should be able to be more consistent and not need to make an entire dedicated video to making a bunch of squares. So, but it was nice being able to just catch up and take this week to make all of those squares that I had been missing and not do any like big, more serious projects because I have been doing so much and was just exhausted from the concert. So, but I hope you all enjoyed this little chatty, more catch-up video. If you had any other questions about the concert that I went to, like let me know, or just any other questions in general, let me know. I'm more than happy to answer them. And yeah, I think that's everything. So if there's anything else you want to see from me, just let me know down below. Make sure to like and subscribe and everything, and I will see you all next time. Okay, Berg. Bye. Seeing the Stray Kids voiceover and like audio stuff still on my phone makes me sad. I want to go back. Focus. There we go. What word am I looking for? We didn't want to walk back to our house. Whoa! I really hope the audio is okay having the window open. I'm sure you can hear the birds singing. They just started singing a lot more as I was finishing up the video, but I also don't imagine I'm going to be talking a huge amount about K-pop on here, but just thought it'd be fun to talk about my experience at the concert. So, and again, if I met you at the concert, it was really nice meeting you, and I hope you had a great time at the concert as well. So, anyways, I need to come up with what I'm going to do next, and I need to edit this video, so I'm going to go do that. So, I'll see you all soon. Bye!